I did not grow up in a traditional household.
Mm-hmm.
My dad worked, my mom worked, and that was important. But then also, I think that, like you said, it does matter. Capacity does matter, right? So if you are earning more, I do think you should be contributing more.
Whichever sex. Fantastic.
Because I just don't think that, it doesn't make sense to me if you're the woman and you're earning 100K, your husband is earning 50K, and you're like, oh, he should completely pay for the mortgage and the bills and like our groceries, and then you just want to just have your own personal hair and nails. Like it just doesn't make sense. And I think that it will stunt your wealth, like as a family as well, which a lot of people don't think about. They're thinking of themselves, their own selfish needs. But again, when you're getting married or you're in a committed relationship, it's an us.
Yeah.
It's not just me and what I want. Like, of course, you want to live a soft life, baby girl, be taken care of. And a lot of men want to do that for a lot of women, as they're women, right? But they need to have a level of respect, and they also need to not be under too much pressure so that they can be their best self.
Welcome to another episode of Twirls and Tuxedo. I'm here with a special guest talking about finance. As Davido said, love is sweet, but when money enter, love is sweeter. Talking about finances today. I have Bookie here. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. My name is Bookie Smart-Snipin. And do you want me to give my...
Yes, who you are, you know, why you think you're here.
Okay.
All that good stuff.
So apart from actually being happily married,
yes,
I talk a lot about money. So I'm a personal finance content creator. I have a brand called Save, Spend, Invest. And I just teach everyone, young adults, couples, about how to do better with your money, how to save better, invest better. And I think we're going to have a really good conversation about money and love and weddings and all the things.
Fantastic. And why did you start Save, Spend, Save and Invest?
Save, Spend, Invest.
Save, of course, you do first. Save first, and then you spend your money and invest. Yeah. So why did you start that? Well, what built that initially?
Yeah, I think we don't talk about money as a society, but it's this thing that we all want, we all need.
Yes.
We kind of get thrusted from like the educational system into work without anyone actually telling us, okay, now that you're earning a salary, what do you actually do with it? How do you make more? How do you grow it? And I think that financial literacy isn't taught in every household. I was fortunate enough to have parents who sat me down and said, like, save. And when I started working, my dad still started talking to me about investing and buying a property and things like that. But the wider society, we don't really have that. And I think it can be such a taboo topic. So I started it to demystify a lot of things and to just get people more comfortable with talking about money. And then it just grew to, okay, what saving tips do you have, or do you want to be able to buy a property, to be able to get married, to finance your life, to just build the life that you want, essentially, which money obviously is at the center of it.
Fantastic. And how long ago have you started this?
I mean, 7 years now.
7 years. Wow. What was your first big tip you gave to your audience? What is one of the first tips you're like, oh no, this is a good tip? Like, proud of yourself.
The first thing that I actually did when I opened the page was like have an emergency fund. I remember so vividly because I had missed my flight with a friend. It was like a beautiful 7 days we had in, I think it was Italy. And then we literally missed the check-in by a minute.
Oh, wow.
And I remember at that moment when the lady at the counter was like, oh, sorry, there's nothing we can do. You just have to buy a new flight. My friend was like panicking, like, oh my gosh, I have work. I have to take out my savings. And I was like, oh, don't you have an emergency fund? And she was like, what is that? And that was the first like aha moment of like, oh, people don't know about an emergency fund or why it's important. But I had that, and that was where I realized, oh, okay, more people need to know about this. So that's a huge tip for everyone.
So emergency fund is different from a savings fund?
Yes.
Oh, wow, I'm learning something.
An emergency fund is definitely for like actual emergency.
So how do you what are the parameters to emergency fund? What are the laws? Or the techniques, or what is it, a percentage of a salary, or how do you?
It's subjective to each person. I think the general rule with personal finance is for it to be like 3 to 6 months of your income, I would say, because your expenses would tend to just go up anyway. But 3 to 6 months of your income in case anything happened to you with work, in case you had any medical emergencies, any family thing that you needed to kind of attend to. So I would say 3 to 6 months of income. But you can also have small emergencies, which I would say keep like 500 to 1,000 pounds. So that's booking a flight.
Yeah.
And those ones will probably get eaten up much more quickly than like the big thing.
Okay, cool. Let's go into like relationship, talking about, actually no, before we go into relationship, why do you think talking about money is a taboo in society? Because you're absolutely right, you're spot on. We don't talk about it. It's seen as something either awkward or people are not comfortable with, even within a family setting, like around the table.
Yeah.
Most in the Nigerian community anyway, most kids or wives don't know what their husbands actually have or don't have. So why do you think it's a taboo? What's your experience, or what are your
I think a couple of reasons. I think one is literacy, just not even having language for it. So not having language for things like investing or compound interest or, return on investments, things like that. So not even understanding what that is makes you not want to talk about something. So imagine if you don't have enough knowledge about something, you're less likely going to want to talk about it. It's going to be a bit embarrassing. And I think also it's funny because money is this thing that everybody wants, everybody needs, but we're all trying to hide it.
Act like we don't.
Like, oh, it's not a big deal. Or, if you're even thinking about like a pay rise or promotions or just making more money, like I think there's just a level of, it's a very personal thing. And I think money is also very emotional for a lot of people, right? People have issues that have stemmed from not having money or people seeing their parents struggle and therefore that's affecting their relationship with money. People have been scammed, traumatized by family and things like that. So I think there's a lot of nuance to it. So I would say those two things, it's like it can be quite emotional, but then there's also like that financial literacy aspect.
No, you're absolutely right. Because we do attach a lot. Everything's attached to money. Yeah. Everything around us is attached to money, and we're all emotionally attached. And we're having those conversations without the right knowledge, or it can be very, very difficult. So absolutely, you're absolutely spot on. In terms of like a relationship side of things, because we're going slowly moving into like a wedding setting. When do you think is the right time to start talking about money in a relationship? Like let's paint a scenario. You're dating a guy or girl seriously, and obviously it's never said the marriage is going to be the end goal, but that's the end goal you have in mind. When do you think is the right time to start talking about money?
I think
from the dating stage
earlier. Yeah, okay, I would say that because it's such a big part of a relationship that it doesn't make sense to put it off until when you're like getting married to someone and then you find out, they have a ton of debt or they're actually very irresponsible with their money. Because then, yes, you can change it to some extent, but a lot of it is also their nature, and that's very difficult to change. And are you going to now say, oh, but this is the person I want to get married to, oh, but they spend money very recklessly, so therefore I'm just not going to share how much I earn, or like, it's such a huge part of relationships, so it needs to be talked about early on. And I think I would just say, just get comfortable, just even around, oh, what do you do for work? And put them in situations or have conversations around, oh, so what do you think about sending money back home, for example? Is that something that you saw your parents do? Black tax. What are your views on it? Make it casual. I think sometimes we put too much weight on it, and that's why we refrain from talking about it, because you don't want to jump straight into what's your salary, how much do you earn, how much do you save? But it's just, oh, what do you spend on? What do you do for fun? Or if they tell you they're traveling, for example, oh, are you going to stay in a nice 5-star luxury resort? Are you going to find for, you kind of gauge a couple of things. Just to start to, understand the topic of money around them before you then, as you're getting deeper into that relationship, you now start asking questions of, okay, so what do you think about joint accounts in marriage? And, are you comfortable sharing your salary? Is that something you'd want me to know? Do you want me to share mine? Are you having a secret stash? Did you grow up, having either parents say, or hide some money somewhere so your partner, which is common.
Yeah, it's common in Nigerian culture.
Yeah, I don't think we should make it so serious. It can be just very lighthearted, but you actually then bring that topic up. Yeah.
I guess so just to summarize, so in the dating stage, you're just trying to lightly touches to engage. Engage. Not only there. I think it says not only what they earn, how they spend money. Because they say it's not about what you earn, it's about what you can save. And what you can save is based on who you are as a person and what your spending habits are like. You can be earning 6 figures or whatever, but yet you're not be able to save anything, because I realized as my wealth increases, there's always more things. So
there's always more things that you don't realize, right?
There's more things to buy.
You're 30K, you're thinking, oh, premium economy is nice.
Exactly.
Once you taste the premium economy,
you're like, business class, it's not far. It's only 4 seats ahead of me.
Exactly.
So, as you increase your wealth, your taste buds starts to develop.
Normal.
Yeah,
it's normal. So people should definitely have that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of so let's say now, because you said about talking about in the dating stage, but imagine where someone has not done that and you've got I'm in love with this girl, I'm in love with this guy, or so how do you now bring on the conversation? Like, what would you advise someone watching this podcast? Bring those conversations. You're realizing that, okay, this guy might propose, or this is the girl I want to be with.
Right.
How do you then bring up that conversation? Let's say you've been dating for like a year.
Yeah.
You're not really, because it is awkward for a lot of people.
It is.
People get lost in the love sauce.
Yeah.
And one of my aunties when I was getting married told me that love is never enough.
It's not.
It's not enough. Love is the starting point, but what to keep the marriage together is a lot of stuff like, finances, communication, and all this stuff, understanding,
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. And money is one of the big factors. In fact, money is one of the reasons why a lot of couples actually get, one of the 5 reasons why get get divorced.
3.
Top 3. I thought it was top 5. There we go. Top 3. So again, back to the scenario. If someone has all loved up during the dating phase, honeymoon phase of dating, maybe like a year into the relationship, and they realize it's going to get serious, how can they bring up this conversation without it being
So
awkward? Or don't, or not so it doesn't seem like you're trying to pocket watch.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully at that point you already have a good understanding of the person that you're with, and that you can also be vulnerable, right? So you should know, okay, when they're in a good mood, when it's relaxed, maybe when you guys are watching your favorite show. Again, keep it light. Don't just jump into, oh, by the way, I actually don't know what you earn. It might just be like, oh, what do you think about people sharing their salaries with their partners? Like, is that something you'd be willing to do? And hearing their response, because you essentially don't want to make them guarded. A lot of people are going to go walls up straight up, like, oh, why are you asking me this kind of thing? Or, oh, it's out of nowhere. If we've been dating for a year, you've never cared about my salary or what I earn. You're just fine with me paying for the bills all the time. But I think like just coming back to, oh, if we're going to be in a committed relationship, we're going to get married, I would really like to just have an understanding of like what our money habits are. I'm happy to kind of share with you, and I think it's important for the person bringing it up to be the person
to share as well.
Yeah, and say, I would like you to know how much I earn, just from an accountability perspective as well, just so you also have an idea of like my money goals, what I'm working towards. But as we're building a future together, it's going to be less and less me and more us. And so because of that, I want you to come into that conversation as well with me, and also, if you're comfortable. And hopefully, if they are comfortable, they would be willing to share. And if they're not comfortable, and if they're a little bit like, I don't really want to talk about it, that's fine. Leave it. Yeah. And then another time, just be like, hey, I know you didn't want to talk about it the last time. Is there any reason why? Because a lot of people have trauma, right, attached to that. So sometimes it's also about understanding that so that you can break them down, reassure them, and just say like, hey, I'm not asking you to stop paying for everything. I'm not asking you what your salary is. So if it's double mine, then therefore I'm going to live soft life. It's just it's good for accountability, and it's good to be transparent, and it's just part of that whole marriage and partnership that you want.
Yeah, I think you said 2 things that are very important. You spoke about your financial goals, and you spoke about the partnership. I think once you're going towards the walking out the aisle, or getting married, you become one. You kind of need to know those things as well. Whether and I think something important about a partner have a trauma around money, and understanding that as well. And understanding when is the right time to ask those questions. And I think also the goal thing is very important, because I think that could be the approach, saying that, we're planning to either buy a house, or this is our vision to go on this nice holiday. What is your capacity, or that kind of, I think making it like a more collaborative conversation. So people are not upset and saying, oh no. So no, absolutely good stuff there. So how would you advise couples to manage disagreements on financial issues? So it's like, let's say you notice that your man loves to go to the club and spend lao,
right?
or if you notice your woman likes to buy the latest designer bags, and she already has the collection,
right?
Why is she buying an extra purple one or mint green or whatever colors you? So how would you advise people to actually have those discussions? It's very techy.
It is techy. I mean, I also think sometimes you have seasons of life and you have to know who you're with. So when my husband got married to me, I was a saver, right? And I had been working super hard to save, buy a property, and I did that. And then we got married and I was like, oh, 2 incomes are better than one. And I then kind of took a step back, but I think I didn't obviously let him
step back in saving. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of was like, I've done all the hard things now, and it's time for me to almost relax a little bit. And then I got into spending mode, and he was a bit like, whoa, what's going on here? I think one day I had bought something and he saw it and he was like, I'm pretty sure you have a top that looks exactly like this. And I was like, not in this color. And I think he just said to me like,
what's up?
I don't know you to be someone that just goes out and just buys something. So what's going on? And I was like, oh. And that's when I actually then sat and reflected that, I feel like it's because I've been in saving mode, just hustling, grinding for so long. And now I actually have a bit of capacity because I also have you now to actually just take a step back. And I think that's just the season I'm in, and it will pass. And so he kind of gave me like okay, so let's put a budget. Let's put in a map to it. Let's not just
I like
let you
this,
go
yeah.
crazy.
Okay.
You know? Which I was initially like, oh, it's not that deep. We don't need to do a budget. And he was like, no, we definitely do, so that I don't get carried away, which I also think is important. So yeah, we did a budget around it just to make sure that I was fine and he was fine. And again, I think maybe after like 3-4, I think once I just got started.
But our system. Yeah.
And a lot of it was also home stuff. Like I was newly married. I wanted to furnish the house. I wanted to buy nice clothes, look good for my husband, date night, all of those things. And then after a couple of months, I was like, right, ready to be back in thing, which he was thrilled.
Right, I think that's very important, and I guess it goes back to your name of your content platform, save, spend, invest, because you do have to spend on yourself.
Yes,
you have to enjoy your money, and I know exactly how you feel. I remember buying my first property. I had 3 jobs.
Wow.
I raised the money in 6 months, so I was in saving mode. I didn't go anywhere. I remember I had a trip to go to Miami with my guys.
You know how much you sacrificed.
I booked the flights, but when I saw the itinerary, I was like, nah, guys, I'm trying to buy a house and everything. And, after that happened, I started enjoying my money for a little while. And obviously, again, saving again for my wedding.
Yeah.
I went into saving mode. I was tied up. After that happened again, Lao again. I'm my Lao phase again. So I'm going to, maybe end of the year.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. My point is that you have to, manage that, that cycle, keep the cycle going. And I loved what your husband did, where he just said, okay, I understand this, you've saved.
Yeah.
Let's set a budget. And I think that's the right approach to actually, solving these issues. Another question for you. Mm-hmm. How would you advise couples to manage disagreements on financial issues in their wedding planning phase, especially from external parties? We're going slowly to the wedding side of things. Yes.
Wedding and finances, it can break up an engagement. I've seen I haven't seen where it broke up one, but I've seen where it postponed the wedding because the families were clashing too much, and the couple were also, obviously it's a very emotional time. And I'm with my family, I'm siding with my family, or my dad couldn't have said that, or my mom could have, So I think it's a very delicate time. You have to come into it knowing what you're doing as a couple. You have to come into it knowing that you're a team and there is a goal that you're trying to get to, and you're going to kind of put like boundaries in place for it, right? So for example, my husband and I had a group chat for the wedding. And
who was in the group chat?
Me and him.
Oh, okay, fair, okay.
It was just about the wedding, so it was very different to day-to-day conversations. Yes,
that's good.
So even when it came to, this is the cost, I think we went out, when we got engaged, we went out and got the cost of everything. And then we're like, right, let's speak to our parents and gauge what the interest is in contributing to this wedding. Because we come from a home where both parents were going to pay for the wedding, but we had our own personal cost that we were also going to pay for and then contribute towards. And then we had to decide what was realistic on both sides. So I remember going to my dad and saying, okay, right, I want a destination wedding. My mom was like, who told you? How much do you know a destination wedding costs? But by the time we actually ran the numbers, found our wedding planner, all of those things, so I was like, okay, this actually is comparable to how much it would cost in the UK. And so I think from that moment on, it's just around communicating. I think a lot of people just go into it without communicating. So my parents were like, okay, this is how much we're bringing to the table. How much are his parents bringing to the table? And his parents communicate differently. They're from a bigger family. So everything is what's the bigger family doing? What are they saying? And they took a lot longer to come back and say, this is what we're doing, because they have a way of doing things. Like, we have the person who is catering, we have the person who is doing Ashrabi. My mom is like, okay, but what does that mean in terms of numbers? Like, it wasn't very concrete. And so I think just having a good flow of communication, making sure that the parents are talking to each other, I think is very important. And even if initially it's like, we don't really know these people, I would encourage parents to meet up regularly. So I remember telling my mom and dad, take them out for lunch. You guys should go out, even go and watch a movie together. Just
get to know each other on a personal level.
Because then it was easier. Once I think our trad was done and we started planning for the destination wedding, my mom already knew how my husband's mom was. So he knew okay, if I ask her for this and she's dilly-dallying, or she's telling me I don't know, I'm not sure, just put X amount there, and you just know how to deal with her better, because it can get very tricky. And so if it's about the person, okay, who is paying more, and if I'm not paying for this, I don't get enough of a voice, or
all those different dynamics, and You're right. The wedding planning journey. The wedding planning is a journey. It's a long journey, and
So there's a goal.
and it's a goal. And obviously, wedding is not the goal. Marriage is the goal. People always forget that. And during that journey, you're bringing on people that don't know each other. Yeah, I said that very important. They don't actually know each other. Like you and your at the time boyfriend might know each other very well for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. But your parents don't know each other at all.
Yeah.
So it's almost doing business with someone because it is a business.
Yeah.
Because you're bringing money together to fund. It's an investment.
Yes.
In your kids' future, and you're bringing money together, and then you don't know this person.
And people have different views. People will be like, oh, I want a small wedding. This is how much my budget is. And someone's like, no, it's my first child. I want a big wedding. The whole town, all the people that brought him up from when he was a baby.
Yeah.
So all of those different things come into play.
So for you during that period, it's all about the communication.
Yeah.
And you and your husband now being grounded together, and being on the same page.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And advocating, like naturally you would advocate for your parents. But for example, if there was, I think we wanted to have like a pre-wedding dinner, and my dad was like, yeah, I'm paying for the wedding, I'm not paying for anything. So in our group chat, we're like, okay, right, we have a 400,000 naira.
Okay. I was like,
400,000 naira bill.
So I was your MC. I was like, I didn't touch that money like that, so let's run it back.
No, that was
naira. Okay,
in 2021. It was a different time. My husband was like, okay, how are we going to fund this? Okay, we can contribute 200K, and they were like, okay, can we ask your dad? And I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm asking my dad because he's already, drinks just increased in price. I was like, okay, well, how are we going to fund it? And he goes, okay, let me ask my dad. So again, if we didn't communicate, it would have just been maybe an expectation on my side to be like, oh, okay, this 400K, like, I don't see the money. Like, I don't know, why are you asking me? Why am I talking about it? And a lot of women feel like they're not involved. Like, oh, the man should just handle everything that has to be finances. Like, I'm not involved. I just want to just give me the money for my dress and shoes.
How do you feel about that?
I think sometimes it can be a bit irresponsible because what do you mean you don't know what's going on? You need to know what's going on. One, so that you understand how it works as well. And just like, again, money personalities and how people are thinking about what's important. But at the end of the day, it's your wedding. You want to not just be a guest. You actually want to have active participation in it, making sure, like, I know how much I invested in like decor. I know how much everything was. So it made me have a stake in the wedding. And it also, I think for my guests as well, they appreciated the level of detail that went into it in terms of just how they were looked after, how they were treated. And that's because I was aware. If you're just kind of like, oh, like everybody will have a good time, the wedding planner is going to plan everything and I'll just show up with my nice dress and shoes, you will have a decent wedding. But if you want a wedding, I think that like is that especially has a personal touch, especially if it's a small wedding, which usually destination weddings are, you have to know what's going on in the finances.
Just on that topic on pressure, scenario here. Imagine if, because nowadays a lot of couples are paying for their weddings nowadays, or not a lot, but that's a scenario that's quite common in this society. But let's say you're a couple paying for your own wedding, but the pressures from parents, they have ideas. All these ideas that
they always have ideas.
Not backed with financial alerts.
Yeah.
What is your advice to those couples? And obviously, like you said, it is an emotional period.
Yeah.
And your mother, your father raised you.
Yeah.
And you feel like you owe them part of the day to them.
Yeah.
So how do you manage that?
I think compromise. You have to. There's certain things that you have to, again, as a couple, discuss, okay, what we're going to compromise about. So one might be like, okay, these are the set number of people. And if your parents is saying, can I bring an additional 10, 20, are they going to pay for it? But if it's something like, oh, my mom wants an extra cake and that's going to cost an extra £100 or whatever, like, it's okay. Or she wants to bring her own MC. Okay, but who's going to be with that? Or she wants to bring her own band, or the band is different from our band. Things like that. I feel like know what is worth fighting for.
Yes, I like that.
And release the rest. Because you cannot fight for everything.
I love that saying because, I told my friends that are getting married that there's gonna be a lot of fights.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of fights.
Sure.
Like, you should pick the fights you want to fight.
Exactly. It's not everything.
With your partner, with your parents.
Yeah.
Pick the fight that you want to fight. The ones that you don't want, that is not worth it.
Yeah.
Save your fighting.
Yeah.
I
was arguing with my mom over like 100K. And I'm thinking
100K naira, please. Let my guest. I'm an international guest.
100K
I do not think
naira.
that you can afford me.
Okay. I was arguing with my mom about 100K pounds. But it was 100K naira, and I remember just being so frustrated because it was towards the end, and I was like, oh, we spent how much already? What's an extra 100K? And she was actually like, exactly, what's an extra 100K? You don't need it. And I was like, no, I need it. So yeah, definitely pick your fights very well.
Absolutely. On pressure again, let's talk about social media and how that has shaped expectations in wedding, because now, we are in the viral age, and we're in the glitz and glam age.
Yeah.
And we're in the age where someone will post something that looks so beautiful. And then I know it's more for women. Women have especially when about to get married, they have a folder for wedding ideas.
Yeah.
And of course, nothing against that. So, but sometimes, these glitz and glam require
it costs money.
Cost money.
Yeah.
So what's your take on how social media has affected or not influenced spending habits in weddings, and also how do you manage yourself and ground yourself?
Yeah.
You can speak from experience. I'm very sure you had your own grand ideas when you started off.
The biggest thing is know if you like something for yourself or if you like it because you've seen it a lot. Because I think for a lot of people, they confuse the two. You see something that someone has done or someone else is doing, and you're like, oh, I love that. Okay, that's fine. But do you want that for your wedding? Is that actually important to you? Is that something that if you didn't see, you'd have wanted it? So I think it's very important to assess that. It's fine to be influenced by things, but you need to question is this important to me, or do I just like it because I've seen it on a lot of people, which a lot of people don't take the time to actually figure that out, right? So I think for me, my husband and I, when we got engaged, part of what we did those first early days of wedding planning was just, what do we care about? One was the guest experience, making sure that guests were really looked after, and also doing activities with the bridal party with the guests as well to get them to meet themselves, so that, especially for the destination wedding, so that people would just have a better experience. No one would feel like they don't know each other. So I think asking yourself this question, what is important to you? Some people will say photographer and videographer are the most important things because, of course, capturing the memories. And other people will be like, oh, I want someone to capture the behind the scenes, which now I know there's content.
Yeah, it's the big thing now.
That's a big thing now, right? But yeah, I think you can't take everything, so you need to be very, very careful. There's certain things that you might just splurge on or just be like, oh, this is just a nice to have. I don't know, I want my wedding venue to have flowers decorated in a certain way. That's neither here nor there.
Or you might want real flowers and not...
You might want real flowers
instead
of fake flowers. But I think certainly have that conversation. And again, it's not just your wedding. It's your wedding. It's your partner's wedding. It's
sort of your parents' wedding too, a little bit. They have a stake.
Speak to them. I'd always be talking to my mom about what's important to me. She would give me some ideas. I'd be like, no, I'll give her some ideas too. She'd be like, no one is paying for that. So be realistic about your budgets. But also, leave an allowance for things that might come up that is just I just want it. I just want what I want.
And I think it's important. You said is you might like this thing, but is it actually important to you? And I think also from a partnership perspective, find out what's important to your partner. And I have a good example. So when I wed our wife, she wanted a white down the aisle, because we got married outside on the field. She wanted the white aisle thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't
carpet.
It wasn't even. I think it was carpet. I didn't understand it because I was like, it's like €750 just for somebody we're going to use for 40 minutes. But she now explained to me that to help her walk down the aisle because we're on the grass, so she doesn't get stuck in. Oh, of course you're at a wedding. Yeah. She's focused about that, and also her dress as well.
Yes.
To keep it a bit cleaner for as long, even though it didn't make sense because she's going to walk on the grass anyway. But it worked in her mind, and I was like fine. And I think she also wanted she wanted a 4-piece band to play whatever. I come with the quartet. She wanted a quartet,
right?
But then I knew my godson could play the saxophone for free,
right?
So I thought it would be cute. So that was a compromise.
Yeah.
So I was absolutely understanding what's important to your partner, and also and then if it means something to them, and then you can actually spend more on that. So I'm just reiterating what you said. Absolutely. Let's talk about financial expectations. We spoke about it a little bit around, especially in the Nigerian context where man is seen as a provider, and you mentioned about as a woman you should actually get involved in the wedding, and also 50-50. The taboo around, I don't know if it's a taboo or just people faking it on social media that if you're doing 50-50 your partner, girl, you're living with a renter, you're living with a tenant, or what's the thing you say? That's the big thing now. Well, I just want to know your take on that. Just digress a little bit, but it's important as well because I feel like a lot of men are under pressure when they go on social media, and the UK is tough. The salary is tough, and inflation and everything. So expecting a man to cover everything, some men do, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if you have the capacity, it's all about capacity. But I feel like some men are pressured to feel like they should have the capacity to do that. So I just want to know your take on it. And it could be like, oh yes, a man should pay for everything. That could be your stance. Yeah. And I will just discuss it as well. So let me get your take on that.
I'm different on two fronts. I'm not I did not grow up in a traditional household. So I would say that, like, my dad worked, my mom worked, and that was important. And I think it was only when I was even older that my mom even told me, oh, I could have taken off at a different career point, like even gone a lot way up into my career. But part of what she had to give up was like work-life balance. Like, she needed to be home. She wanted to do her homeworks with us, things like that. But then also, I think that, like you said, it does matter. Capacity does matter, right? So if you are earning more, I do think you should be contributing more. But I think
whichever sex.
Fantastic. Because I just don't think that, it doesn't make sense to me if you're the woman and you're earning 100K, your husband is earning 50K, and you're like, oh, he should completely pay for the mortgage and the bills and like our groceries, and then you just want to just have your own personal hair and nails. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And I think that it will stunt your wealth, like, as a family as well, which a lot of people don't think about. They're thinking of themselves, their own selfish needs. But again, when you're getting married or you're in a committed relationship, it's an us. It's not just me and what I want. Like, of course, you want to live a soft life, baby girl, be taken care of. And a lot of men want to do that for a lot of women, as they're women, right? But they need to have a level of respect, and they also need to not be under too much pressure so that they can be their best selves. So I think that, one, again, understand and communicate the kind of person that you are. So going into my marriage, I told my husband, like, I'm not a traditional wife. Like, I'm not going to stay at home and be raising. Like, I'm not a stay-at-home. Nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home mom, but that's just not me. I like to earn money, and how I do it is different. But if you earn more, then yeah, you contribute more. If I earn more, then I will contribute more. But then where are we going to as a family as well? What actually makes sense? So I think we are currently at the point where we're going towards saving one person's income completely and spending one person's income. That the person who has the most, we spend, and then the person who has lower, we save everything. But I think, yeah, understanding the kind of person that you are. Some people are comfortable with that. Some people are like, no, I don't believe in joy.
Did you plan that after marriage, or you planned that before marriage? We
planned that after marriage because a couple of things changed. My husband changed jobs. I changed jobs. I was unemployed when I got married. I quit my job as soon as I got engaged. I was like, I'm going to be taking care. So I wanted some time to kind of figure out my next career path. But again, I had some room to do that. And that was a conversation I told my husband. I was like, hey, I'm about to quit my job. I don't know how long I'll be unemployed for.
Is that okay?
Is that okay? Can we handle it? Should I not quit? Should I wait and get something else before I quit? All of those things. And he's
and this was when you got engaged. So
this was when we got engaged. Yeah.
Had been made. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think have that open conversation and see what is that. And both of you need to be comfortable with, you know, what you're bringing to the table and what you're going to as a family. So if you have a man who's like, hey, babe, I would like to pay for everything. That's just the kind of person I am. That's how I grew up. That's what I think. Like, I'm a traditional man. I would like for you to just be, you know, staying at home, go do your hair, go do your nails, just relax. Like, that's fine, right? But I think more and more men are not that. More and more men are like, I'm fine for you to make your own money, and then let's both contribute to the degree that we make our money. Let's contribute some parts. Most men would usually take the lion's share and still expect a woman to maybe pay for like the household things. But I think in this day and age, doing 50-50 is not realistic because most people do not earn 50-50.
So just to summarize, your point is that whoever earns more should do more. Should do more. It doesn't matter. No, I like that. That's the kind of feminism I like.
I'm still all for the girlies, though.
Absolutely. Because
I should still spoil his wife.
100%. And naturally, as men, we want to spoil our wives. You know, there's a pride, a sense of pride you get from looking after a woman. But in this day, there's also a lot of pressure on men who don't have the capacity. Not for reasons that even they have their fault, just the economy or circumstances. And also social media as well doesn't help. Because I know, like with the Gen Zs, my younger cousins, you know, at their 21st birthday, they're going on holiday.
Right.
For 21st birthday. When I was 21, max we did was go to the club.
Exactly.
But we didn't get a table. We got general public tickets.
Yeah.
When I was 21, but they're doing a lot of because they're very social media focused.
Yeah.
And the more you see, the more you want to do.
Yeah.
And
if you're not careful, if you come into that mindset in a marriage, you would blow the wealth that you're supposed to have for your children in your generation. You know, when we talk about generational wealth, there is a strategy and a method. Like, you as a family unit actually needs to have, what is your wealth strategy? How are you building for the future? Okay, your husband has doubled his income. Does not mean now all of a sudden you just go from, okay, now we're not a sitting economy ever again. We're only going to stay fight. Like, that might be fine, but then what are you compromising on? Maybe you're spending the money that you could have bought property number 1, 2, 3, and you're spending it on your flights. You're spending it on like designer shoes and bags. So again, sit down, have conversations. Where are we going to as a family? What's important to us? You know, do you really need an extra bag?
No, it's very true. And I wish we could talk about this marriage, family, generational, but we don't have time for that because we're short on time. But let's move on to take you back to 2020 when you started.
Okay.
Would you get engaged 2020 or 2021?
I got engaged 21.
2021. Let's take about 2021. What steps did you take in like planning and budgeting? Now we're going into like the wedding.
Yeah.
It's what steps did you take? I know you said you had a group chat, you and your husband.
Yes.
So that's a great idea.
Yeah. I've now created it as like money conversation cards for like couples and for yourself. But then it was like on a spreadsheet, there were like 100 questions about money that you should ask your partner.
Wow.
And I've now kind of made it into, I think, 50 or so. That's really useful for people to have. It's just questions around like, again, things like what do we want to do about family, like sending money back home? If there's ever a situation where we're having to take care of family or family living with us, do you consider yourself a saver, spender, risk? You know, just questions that maybe you might not think to ask.
Questions.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not as intense as it sounds. Some of it is lighthearted.
It's something like a game. You pick one, you say, pick one, take a shot, you can answer the question. Is that the kind of vibe?
So, I mean, you can make it that way. It's not intended to be. I think it's intended to be more like,
serious.
Let's sit down, let's actually figure out what we're doing.
Okay.
But of course, again, it can be lighthearted. It should be lighthearted, but it's just like, oh, okay, I didn't know you thought that way. You know, I think one of the questions is around like, oh, for example, would you take a lower paying job if it's more fulfilling, or would you take a higher paying job? You know, things like that you wouldn't think to ask, but would actually affect your income together as a family.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of the things we did, was just run through those questions over a couple of days. It wasn't like one sitting. It was just like maybe when we're driving.
You have this list or?
Yeah, I created it, and now it's like a whole card game.
Card game.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, let's.
So I will send that to you.
Let's get the link and put it on this.
Yeah.
In the so I can do.
Yeah.
Go to my yellow basket.
Yeah. Right here. Click.
Yeah.
Click to shop now.
Exactly.
But no, I think it's been really, really helpful for couples, because some of it will be touched on in like marriage counseling for marriage. But then some people don't do that. So some people, it's not covered in depth. So it just really focuses on things to actually know about your partner, their saving habits, their spending habits, but then also those questions around, again, where do you guys want to go to as a family, what their background is as well. Because some people will just be like, okay, this is what we're doing as a family, but let's not talk about my family, how I grew up. But actually that informs a lot of
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in terms of like for your wedding, I'm budgeting. Are you like a spreadsheet queen, or was your husband a spreadsheet?
We both worked in finance at the time, so it was perfect.
Okay,
it was
so
great.
you are a spreadsheet.
Yeah, so we're very, very spreadsheet. If it's not the spreadsheet.
And were you strict to the budget once you were happy to?
We were pretty strict, I would say, because we weren't paying for the wedding.
Okay.
So parents were paying for the wedding, so it was like, this is the budget. So I think anything outside of that, we then had to get creative. I remember telling my friend, I was like, oh, like 5 people paid for my wedding dress, because my father had a budget, my husband's father had a budget, but that was blown. So we're like, okay. So my brother contributed, my husband contributed, I contributed. Like a lot of people paid for my wedding dress. It means a lot to me. So we were definitely spreadsheet people, but I think now that there's like apps that you can use, like I would say, especially if you're paying for your wedding, have an account, right? And maybe even very specifically like Monzo pots, like have it broken down. Okay, this is for hair and makeup, this is for shoes, this is for, things that you're going to pack for your bridesmaids or your groomsmen, this is for pre-wedding. Like actually make it quite detailed, because otherwise if you just say we have 10K, we have 20K, what if your dress costs 5K? You know what I mean? So like have very, kind of break it down into specific amounts. And again, what is important to you?
Yes, very important. I think I like that, because for me, I did something similar. I had a spreadsheet, and I got one of my most Ijebu friends, my friends that know my friend. And everyone knows that friend. All my friends know what I'm talking about. Person that knows doesn't like to spend money.
Yeah.
So he was in charge of my
finance. Yeah, important.
Make sure I didn't.
You're not spending anything
exactly.
on that.
I need to, absolutely. So get that budget down and try and stick to it as much as possible.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on people taking out a loan for wedding dresses, for rings, for wedding days?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I cannot
even if it's special to you, even if it's like
if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. Like you can't afford it right now does not mean you can never afford it. I hear people take, wives or girlfriends saying, oh, I want a 5-carat ring. Do you know how much a 5-carat ring costs? You're looking at like 5 figures, and
we had a jeweler last week.
Right.
She mentioned some of those things. That's actually
the
crazy.
figures is insane, and again, the pressures that you're talking about. This is how people put a lot of pressure on the money. It's all, oh, you have to save 6 months' salary. Does it actually make sense to save 6 months' salary? There's your 5-year. If you want to do a 5-year vow renewal,
that's what she said. She said that you
do that
women actually go out to their rings after like a year.
Yeah.
So you can actually get a bigger ring when you're both more financially.
Exactly. And again, because you're more likely to be better financially in a year's time, in 2 years, in 5 years. So do what you can. Like if by the time you're using buy now, pay later to start paying for things, unless you're doing it from I want to save the cash to use somewhere else. So it just makes sense to like split it across. But if you're using it because you can't actually afford it, then I just think like it's a very slippery slope, because I've seen people go into debt for their wedding and then they're not able to go for a honeymoon. They're not able to travel. You're just literally like you're just content to be married. And you just
in the room. I didn't do after everyone has stepped your rice and gone home.
For what? Exactly. You know, everyone else has enjoyed the wedding. You two had a good time, but you've paid for a big party that you can't really afford. For people that I don't even know if people buy gifts anymore for weddings.
Well, you have to be strategic.
Before, you'd have uncles that might give you like envelopes and, you know, some of it will cover the cost. Now, people will come for your wedding and tell you, oh, I've come for the wedding. My presence is the gift.
The thing is that you have to be strategic about that. And what I did for my wedding was this. So I had a lot of friends that came from America, so they brought dollars, dollar notes.
Yeah.
And I had a friend that was just literally recycling the dollars.
Love it.
So people would send her, shout out Shaitan.
Yeah.
People would send her the pounds, send her the pounds. You gotta recount the money and be giving it out.
Yeah.
And it became a peer pressure thing because everyone was just throwing dollars. So everybody wanted to be part of that.
Yeah.
That's hoo-ha. So that's how we made the bags we carried home.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But that's a tip I'll give people to do. Just have a dollar man.
Yeah.
And I'm actually, as an MC, I'm actually thinking of doing that as a side business, but it's a bit too
in your face.
It's a bit raz for me to do it, but I've counted the money. I can make like 1K
easily
in a night, and then what I'll now do with the bride and groom, I'll now exchange it for them at a lower rate and make money on that as well. I thought about it actually.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I thought about it myself, so that's a nice way to get money out of people.
Yeah.
But going back to so your stance is a no loan, absolutely. You're absolutely right, because I had a friend, he got married. He obviously had a kid with this lady. They got married 5 years later. Like they got married, but did the wedding. Sorry, did the wedding 5 years later.
Right.
Not because it wasn't right for them at that time. And there's nothing wrong with.
There's absolutely nothing wrong. Like it's you and your partner. That's all.
Yeah.
So if you can afford 30 people, have 30 people. If you can afford 200, have 200. But you're going into debt to try. Why? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Absolutely. And what are your thoughts around? I call this financial priorities, or the priority order financially. Like you're planning a wedding, but you don't have your house.
Right.
Planning a wedding, you're sitting in your parents' house.
Right.
So what are your thoughts around that? Was there a financial priority order for you?
For me, yes.
Okay.
I wanted to have a property saved. That was important to my husband. He was more important. He cared more about making money than like buying a property and then possibly being stuck with the mortgage, or maybe you don't like the property after a year, all of those things. So I think people, again, need to know the kind of person that you're with. Some people don't necessarily want to buy a house immediately after getting married. Some people are like, oh, actually, we'll just do a court thing and then use more of the money to buy a property and move into our own home. Some people are like, oh, we might be traveling for a couple of years, or maybe we're exploring not living in the UK, which is very common now. Most people are moving out, so they don't want to be bogged down by a mortgage, which fair enough. But some other people, it might even be their parents saying like, does it make sense to spend 20, 30K on one day when instead you could do half and still have a good, decent, nice day, but then start building your lives together, and here is actually some money. And I've seen friends' parents do that now, where they're like, oh, we have a big amount to support you, but we don't want to give that all to you for the wedding. Actually, by the support.
That's really good. I haven't heard of that.
Yeah,
that's really good.
I think it's important. So definitely, I would say like, if buying a property is important to you, then you guys need to know that buying a property and planning and saving for a wedding is an extreme sport. I do not recommend. If possible, I would say buy the property first.
Yep.
And then be settled as well, and then you can plan your wedding. But if obviously you guys are still a couple of years away from buying a property, then fine, have your wedding. But also know that don't go and blow your property deposit on your wedding. It doesn't make sense.
It's just one day.
Yeah, and people be like, oh, it's fine, I have my job, or I'm up for a promotion. Listen, layoffs happen. People can get, I know someone who got married and literally within the first month lost their job. So imagine thinking, oh, I have a steady paycheck that I'm going to use to pay this debt that I've taken, or this cost, or my, our property deposit. You don't know what's going to happen. So plan for what you know today. Yeah.
No, absolutely. No, that was a response I hope you were going to say. So I'm glad you said that. Otherwise, I'll take this conversation to another angle. So I'm glad you said that. Let's go back to yourself and your money habits. What was one belief about money you had to unlearn when things were serious with your partner? What was one thing, if you can remember, if I don't put you on the spot?
As much as I cannot be, I'm not a traditional person.
I know where this is going.
I had to unlearn
I love my master something going, nothing like this. Okay, I know where this is going.
I
Finish.
don't pay for every date.
Oh yeah, land.
Every date, every activity is not covered.
Okay, so don't say it again so we can hear louder, because you muffled it a little bit into the mic.
Men don't pay for every date.
Women, are you listening?
Or they shouldn't pay for every date
Uh-huh.
as well. I think it was a big shock when I don't even know how long we had been dating for. But one day the bill came and my husband he was just looking around. And I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, what the kid in there?
Why are we both looking around? He was like, I just think like, I think then he was even nice. He said, you pay for what you got. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I've never gone out with my parents and you pay for what you got. And what is that? And he was just like, that obviously he's more than happy to pay, but he also wants me to just contribute as well at some point. So I think that that was good.
That's good. I like that.
But it's good. You know what? I like treating my man as well. Every now and again, when we go out, I'm like, don't worry, I've got it. Or like I'd plan a whole thing for him. And I think that's also important as well as a woman to have your own money so that you can actually spend it on your man.
No, that's good. That's a good lesson to learn, that, it's not 50-50, but it's a country. It's a partnership.
Yes, exactly.
It takes give, I take. It takes two.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I like that. What advice would you give someone who's scared to start the money talk with their partner? What advice?
If you're scared, I think you need to ask yourself why is it so scary to talk about money? Because is it trauma related? A lot of people need to go to therapy to just unpack a lot of things. And again, even the money questions that I did, some of it is just asking yourself hard questions like, why do I think this way about money? Like, some people don't believe in joint accounts, for example. They just don't believe that their partner needs to know how they spend their money or how much they're saving this month and things like that. And it's again, why? Is it that, I'm just not comfortable, or I think they'll judge me? Obviously, you should be with someone who doesn't judge you, even if you are a spender. Like naturally, most people that actually get together, I think one person tends to be the spender, one person tends to be the saver, and that's fine. But I think unpack what are the fears that you have so that you can actually start dealing with the root of it. Some people need to have conversations with their parents as well and just be like, why did we do this? Or some people now find out later on that money was actually tight for their parents and they didn't know that they were living off loans and things, and then now they're older, their parents are in a lot of debt, and now their parents expect them to support them and things like that. So it's hard. It's not an easy work to do, but it's a lot of things to like unpack. But honestly, you're so much better for it when you actually get to the other side.
I like the approach you took about looking inwards and out why you're actually scared to have that conversation. And on your platform, or is that something that people can reach out to you to come and discuss? I don't know if is it financial therapy or
I do
coaching? Sorry, that's the right word. Financial coaching.
Financial therapy. That might actually be great. That might be a good name to rebrand my coaching. Financial therapy.
Is that something people can reach out to you?
Yeah, I have a paid coaching service that I do, but people also just DM me sometimes, just be like, hey, I'm in this weird situation with like my mom, my boyfriend, don't really know what to do. What do you think? I'm also happy to do that.
And where can people find you?
So my Instagram is Buki Smart. And my TikTok is also Buki Smart. So that's BUKIIESMART. Or Save, Spend, Invest as well, which is more formally what I do to talk about money.
Fantastic. And it's so funny, when you had that Buki Smart, there's a lady called Smart Money.
Yes.
And I thought, that could have been.
I know.
Your brand.
It's my actual name.
Actual surname, I don't.
So it really could have been an opportunity.
That could have been. I think you can probably sue her if we have the right lawyers.
I should check if she's actually copyrighted.
Yeah, because that's actually your surname.
Yeah.
So and then the last question before I let you go, what is one thing you think couples should do right now to have better financial management in general? Like, what's one thing you advise?
Apart from my cards, obviously, like the money competition cards.
You can that could be it. I find it very interesting. I would love to see these cards actually. Maybe you actually said that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's a very, very good starting point. But I think honestly, another thing is like have a money date. So maybe a money date. So maybe every Sunday you guys just check in like, hey, are we on track? Or maybe every month, once a month, you guys sit down. 1 hour, no judgments. You look through your accounts. Are you on track? Maybe you overspent. Maybe some expenses came up you didn't plan for. Or even just reviewing like, oh, we want to go on holiday next month. How much are we contributing? Or how much is in our savings account? Oh, is it a bit lower than we thought? So did someone take more money out from the joint cooking pots? So yeah, I would say that my money conversation cards, as well as a money dates.
This money conversation cards, is it commercial? Is it on like Amazon?
Yeah. No, it's not Amazon. I have a website.
Oh.
I have a
I have these clients. So you are one of my clients. You say you need to have.
It is safespendinvest.gumroad.com. So I have a money conversation cards on there. I also have
How much is it?
It is £14.
£14, but you give them discounts.
I can give them discounts. Yes.
A code inside. I'll put the code in here.
Exactly. And I have other resources as well. Like I have a personal finance book. I have investing for beginners book. All on Gumroad.
Yeah, I have plenty to sell.
It's all on Gumroad. So yeah, definitely get yourself there. I think it really, like more than just my product, it really, really does help. Like for the couples that have bought it, there are questions they would have never asked themselves. So yeah.
Next time, actually, I'm just thinking out loud. We're going to get those cards. We're going to do another session.
Absolutely. Okay.
We're going to just talk through them and always just get people a teaser of what those cards.
Yeah.
A great session.
Yeah.
Well, I'll speak to my assistant.
Your manager.
Sorry, my manager. I said my assistant, my manager to talk to your people.
Speak to the powers that
speak
be.
to your manager, your husband, and then we'll align our dates again. But no, thank you so much. I think you've dropped a lot of gems here, and I really hope people who are watching this can understand that it's okay to not be okay about money and just have reach out to you or find the resources to find how they can have these conversations with their partner, because getting married is forever. Fingers crossed.
Marriage
is forever. And if you cannot talk about finances adequately, understand each other's financial habits can really cause a lot of issues down the line. So no, thank you, Buki, for joining us today. And you guys have heard it from Mrs. Smart. That's our old name.
My maiden name.
You've heard from her. Smart money. Space spend and invest. You've heard from her. Thank you guys for tuning into another episode of Twirls and Tuxedo. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.